podcast. This is your host Hatch with my boys.
We got a Deon Taylor.
Oh, we don't need to introduce you today. We're going straight to the guest page. Deon Taylor is in the building.
Get your popcorn ready,
Get your
dog.
popcorn. We ready, we ready, baby. What's going on, man?
Man, I'm great, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Appreciate you taking the time.
Sitting with the legends today, man.
Hey, you already know what it is.
Legend.
No, we got a hater and we got a legend.
Hey, you know what it
You know
is?
what I'm saying? You know what it is, man. But you know.
Legends?
Yes, he kind of hate. You got to get used to this little thing. He gonna be doing that the whole show. Don't even worry. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, you're talking about me and you, legends.
There you go. There you
Can't
go.
do that, man.
There you go.
Legends, I get it.
Legend and soon to be legend. How about that?
I'm not accepting that, G. You gotta stop playing with me. My man Deon Taylor is in the building.
Yes,
Writer,
sir.
director, producer. Right, you're doing your thing out here, man. Congratulations on all
Thank
the
you for that,
success,
man. Thank
brother.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Appreciate y'all, man.
Unbeknownst to me, we got to talking about it right before we started rolling. I didn't know you did traffic.
Traffic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of
So
the big
obviously
ones,
being that that's a relevant topic at this
Yeah.
point, like I said, I watched the movie, I was blown away. It
Yes.
has one of my favorite actresses in it, Paula Patton.
Paula Patton.
Paula Patton
Yeah,
did
I
her
got a
thing
crush
in
on
it,
you. I got a
absolutely.
crush on you, Paula.
He thirsty, don't even worry about it. He thirsty.
Yep, thirsty.
She's awesome, though. Yeah, Paula Patton, Omar Epps.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking earlier. I think
How'd that whole project get started? Like, what did you?
Yeah, man, it's crazy because I was just telling you guys earlier that traffic basically came before its time. Not that human trafficking has not always been something that we've been dealing with, but it was not public in terms of people talking about it, having conversations about it like we are now. Now you go through the Atlanta airport and the intercom says, you know what I mean?
Be aware.
Trafficking.
Anything
there was
you
a
see.
moment. So at the time, my daughter was 13, and we had got a letter, and the letter was saying be aware of human trafficking. And me being a dad and also a black man, I'm like, man, anybody trafficking nobody out here. You know what I mean? You like, man, whatever. I threw it to the side. And for some reason, man, later on that day, I ended up picking up my phone and Googling trafficking in my area.
Right.
And I was blown away, man. I live in Northern California. I was blown away to find out I was in one of the major hubs of human trafficking. And you start thinking about the Bay Area, going up towards Tahoe, and then if you veer off coming out of LA, going down 5, I found out that, man, this was one of the main routes.
Wow.
And I dug a little bit deeper, man, and found out that black and brown girls, it's not like the movie Taken where you like, oh,
Right,
this is just
that's
a
what we're
foreign.
thinking, European.
Look, man, I
and-
played overseas, so I understand, that movie. I understood what that was, but you would think naturally oh yeah, Liam Neeson's in another country and this is what it is.
Right.
No, man, black and brown girls, inner cities are the most trafficked women in the world.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's the local pimp in Baltimore. You know what I mean?
Really?
It's the local, dude in Oakland, moving around the way he is with women and
Moving and shaking.
yeah, so I was inspired, man, to just be like, man, this is interesting. I wanted to do a story around it, so I wanted to set the movie in the world of a thriller, based on the fact that a lot of times, man, when you make films, you can make a movie about that and people not want to see it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, I don't want to see that, man. But if you put the medicine, in the candy, so you make it a thriller, and then you put that information in there, it allows people, and I think I was
people
right
aware.
that time, man. People went to see it. It was, worked really well. Opened number 2 in the world and number 3 in the world at the time, independently. Wow. And the film ends up becoming, I think it won an AMA, was nominated for Image Award, Best Picture, ended up being put in the Art Museum of Motion Pictures. So, independently was one of those things that at first people were like, why are you doing it? And then later on it received what it was supposed to receive.
Wow. So you mentioned there was caught a lot of flack behind it.
Yeah.
What was the flack?
The flag was critics and people saying, why are you making this movie? This is not real. Why would you put a traffic movie inside of a thriller? Those are the things you get early on.
Wow.
And or people saying, studio people saying, why? What is that? Like, I don't want to distribute a
don't
movie
wanna
about
see that
trafficking.
anyway, right.
You know what I mean? But it's funny, man, because sometimes you do things earlier and they pay greater later. You know what I mean? And art is that way. You know what I mean? Sometimes we see somebody do something, like, man, that's stupid. You know what I mean? And then a year and a half later, everybody wearing the same stupid clothes. You know what I mean? Whatever that might be. So film is a lot like that, man. I think when you're thinking ahead, you know, it's funny, man. Like, I seen this. There was this this image recently of Lakeith, and he's dressed in this. I don't know if you guys seen. He has like a stocking and a thing on his head, and I seen this image going around, and everyone's like sending this image around, like, man, look at this dude. He crazy as hell. You know what I mean? Like, why would you?
His mind.
Yeah, why would you wear this? Hollywood got him. You know what I mean? And my first impression was that too. Like, man. But then when you take one step back, and then I seen another image later of someone put a collection of Cameo, Rick James, you know, Prince,
It's all coming
you
back.
know, Jimi Hendrix. And you see those images and you go, wow, this is crazy. Like,
Because when they wore that back then, everybody said the same thing. He lost his mind.
yeah, it's interesting, man. Art is interesting that way. I wouldn't wear it.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? But you know, Andre 3000, I remember just I seen this whole collage of all these artists. I was like, wow, man, this is crazy. Like, it just repeats itself in terms of, like, you know, when you're out the box and you think weird and you're kind of crazy. And
You get inspired.
Yep,
And I think from what I'm gathering, you were inspired by, again, the idea of them telling you, like, you know, making you aware that, you know, about trafficking in that area.
Yeah.
So I always, you know, even with things that I do, I use inspiration for information.
That's right.
You know
That's
what I
right.
mean?
That's
And
right.
And essentially,
That's right.
that's what you're saying, what happened with you. You got inspired, and then with your movie, you gave fruitful information
Yes.
about trafficking, again, like you said, unbeknownst to, again, obviously people in the Black community, because we don't walk around
think it's gonna
like
happen to
thinking it's
us,
going to
man.
happen to us, you know what I mean?
That's with everything though, right? Like
You say, I wish somebody would.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you have a T-shirt saying, "I wish."
Right.
Yeah, until it happens to you.
Right, but
There
you
you
think
go.
of something
Yep.
happening like that, like if you go abroad, you know what I mean? If you go international,
Yep,
that's when
yep.
you kind of your antennas go
Go
up.
up.
Yeah,
like,
your
oh,
antennas up, and
You're like, yeah,
you in
don't go
Germany.
here.
You like, I hope don't nobody
Right,
get me.
right.
But
Right,
really,
don't
you
go
should feel
here.
like that in Oakland.
Right
Yeah,
here.
don't go here,
Right
don't
here.
go there.
That's right.
Like I've heard about things about Dubai, like, you know, don't go, you know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
kind of afraid to go to Dubai. But then when I see people post stuff, I'm like,
I wanna go to
I want
Dubai.
to go to Dubai.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
But it's like, you got to be with the right people. That's what I've heard. Like, you know,
Yeah.
go with the right people, go so they can, you know, show you the right places to go. You don't want to veer off and then
That's right.
kind of like, you know, get kidnapped. You know,
I wish
Ain't
somebody
nobody
would
gonna
kidnap
yo.
you. I wish somebody would kidnap you. Oh, Lord, paradise. They gonna put you in a bag.
Oh, man.
Throw you over the shut up. Throw you over the shoulder. Come on.
To me, like, your art should express the time that you live in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, really, like, if you really are doing this, like, that, you don't have to think that.
Right.
It just
live
really
it.
should be that. Do you know what I mean? So, like, what do you see?
So,
Like-
so talk to the story writers out there about, because again, you said you're writing another movie. This came to you in reality, and then you put your truth into the script. And that, again, I think people need to understand. It's like you can have a great imagination, but
Yeah.
use some truth. It just brings everything to light.
Yeah, I think for me, I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, it's a world where I've been doing this independently for 17 years
Right,
now.
right.
So we've been financing our own movies, making our own films, taking the risk by ourselves. And look, that comes with a different mentality. You know what I mean? That means when I write something or I make something, that could very well be the last time I do something if it doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So part of my energy is when I get invested into a movie, it's something I believe in. You know what I mean? I have to believe in it wholeheartedly. I'll be like, yo, even if it's a comedy like Meet the Blacks,
Right.
I gotta be like, all right, this gotta work.
All in.
And I know I'm making it for this particular audience. There is no left or right. You know what I mean? Traffic was the same way. When I invest into that film, I'm going like, all right, I'm a bet on the fact that I didn't know about this. You don't know about this. You know what I mean?
Right,
and at
right.
the same time, I'm gonna shine a light on it, but I'm gonna put it in my, in my stylized way. Black and Blue. Never seen a cop movie with a lead black female cop. And I remember going to Sony and being like, yo, there's never been, we're not talking about Jackie Brown, we're talking about like a cop.
Right.
Led film with a black female, with a female lead. We've never seen it.
Wow.
You think of 1,000 Rambo, 1,000 Sylvester Stallone, you know what I mean?
All of them, right.
Like, so I said, so for me, it was like, man, I want to take that plunge and do that because I feel like it's the first of its kind. I feel like Traffic was the first of its kind in my wheelhouse. So, yeah, I think the art is living in the moment. You know what I mean? When the George Floyd incident happened, we all seen it on our phone. There were some people that turned the phone off, was like, damn, that's crazy. And there was some people that was like, yo, I gotta go outside and march. Or I got to go outside and do something. So that's the energy, right? I was one of those people that turned my phone off, was like, yo, I'm organizing a march. You know what I mean? It did something to you. It's fight or flee.
Internally, right?
Right? It's a fight or flee. So I think film is that way too. Like, if something moves you, go with it. Period, man. Because it's funny, like, you've been out here doing this for a long time. You could have an idea for a year and you'd be like, oh man, I got this great idea. And somebody be like, man, I got the same idea. And neither one of y'all have done the idea. You know what I mean?
So somebody else do it 2 years later.
Somebody else gonna do it. You'd be like, man, they stole my movie. Like, no, man, you
didn't do your movie.
That's right.
Beat you to the punch.
Hollywood is like that. You know what I mean? And I think it's interesting because sports, you know, your background is sports, my background is sports. It's funny, man, because if you think about hoop, right? A long time ago, like, Ginobili was Euroing. And we didn't know what that was. We was like, man, that's crazy. You'd be like, you'd be like, man, that's crazy how he go that way, then go that way.
I didn't think it was traveling. It was just unique.
It was different. It was different.
It was different.
And now,
the average eye sees.
Because you don't hoop.
He's not.
It's okay. I'll explain it to you. So the Euros when you go that way, and then you go that way.
Right. He doesn't understand. He don't know what no Euro is.
Both y'all. Go ahead, though.
Ain't finna Euro nowhere.
The hip can't Euro no more. The hip can't
but now
Euro.
that's like, James Harden took that to a whole, Ja Morant. It's
to
like
another level.
It's crazy, but that's art.
Evolving.
That is
that's
art.
Evolution of
That's exactly right.
And
Like,
same what you're doing.
Yes.
Evolution of filmmaking.
Yes.
So let's go back to, again, start talking about, again, you were in sports, and we kind of talk about always transitioning people from going from entertainment to sports, or sports to entertainment, or sports to real estate, whatever it may be. So you were in sports. You're a true athlete at heart. And again, what are some of the things you learned from your transition from the sports to the entertainment world?
Everything, man. Everything. I think I wouldn't be here if it was not for sports. You know what I mean? So I came from Gary, Indiana, raised by a single mom. You know, at the time when I was in Gary, it still is that Chicago. Gary is like one of them worlds where, you know, it's violence, gun violence everywhere you look. I had multiple cousins, you know, locked up, multiple cousins killed, you know what I mean? So basketball was like, either you could hoop, you know, like Biggie had it right. I mean,
hoop or you was in the streets.
Yeah, either you hooping or you in the streets. And sometimes sports gives you a pass. Do you know what I mean? Like where people are, oh no, he hoop. Or you know,
let him ride. He going to
he play football. Oh man, leave him alone. You know what I mean? Like he got a game tonight.
Get a little nigga the ball
and it's
back.
your job to either, you know, navigate, like I'm gonna still deal with that, or I'm gonna be this. And but basketball is one of them things, man, for me where, and I say it's a fraternity. Any sports is a fraternity.
True.
Because what it allows you to do is, it let me get on the bus and go to other schools. It gave me shoes. You know what I mean? It put me in an organized position when I didn't have a dad. You know what I mean? There was a man, there was somebody telling me like, no, don't do this, don't do that. You know what I mean? And it ultimately allowed me to travel the world. You know what I mean? Like because of basketball, I went to Las Vegas. I went to New York. Like I went, like it was like, wow, man, even though you had to raise the money and do all this stuff.
You would have never,
you never got out of. You never got out of.
So I call that a fraternity, man. But when I think about it, it was the first time I stepped foot overseas was because of basketball. You know what I mean? The first time I received a trophy was because of basketball. The first time I got accolades, first time I was able to go to college, like all that became, you know, sports related. So, but you learn, you know, sports is a team sport. You know what I mean? Everybody can't score. Somebody got to rebound. Somebody got to play defense. You know what I mean? Like you hot tonight. I got to give it to you. You learn not to be selfish. And I think film is the same exact way. I approach film as a filmmaker like sports where, you know, it's funny, man. I had a coach you know, I was playing on like an AAU team in Chicago, and I had a coach that everything you did, he yelled. You mother, you know what I mean? You got you dump the goddamn ball. You crazy? Like shit.
You're like, I got 28 right now. Why you hollering at me?
Whatever it is. So what's crazy is like I remember when you play in a game like that, some people can get off in that environment, some people can't. I remember being on the court in this game, and everything you do, everybody looking at the coach. You know what I mean? You pass the ball.
Shell.
Yeah.
So
That to me, I always been like, man, I don't ever want to be that dude.
Yeah.
Then you have a coach, you make a mistake, and they're like, come here. You go over there and it's like, yo, you know damn well you can make a better pass than that. You should have dunked that. You should have dunked that ball. Get back in there, dunk it next time. So when I do film, I approach film that way. You know,
because as a director, you're
directing
the coach.
is coaching. Directing is coaching.
Yeah.
So you hear these stories of directors throwing chairs and screaming and kicking cameras and yelling at everybody on the set, and you know what I mean. And I've seen it, but I've also seen directors that coach. You know what I mean? Like, man, I'm trying to get this, I'm trying to get that, because it is a lot like sports. There's a dance.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking to a Paula Patton, if I'm talking to a Naomi Harris, I'm talking to a Hilary Swank, a Michael Ealy, whomever that might be, a Tyron Turner, like, part of it is, am I speaking the same language? And do you understand what I'm trying to get from you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know Tyron. Shout out to Tyron.
Shout out to T. Turner, man.
Young fella.
He killed Fatal, man. I love Tyron.
Fatal.
Yeah.
That shit was good too, though. This guy.
You don't know who your guest is today?
I do. I saw.
It's called IMDb.
No, I have all of it, but I didn't know initially. I didn't know that that's was your work.
Yeah.
Michael Ealy. Oh man, I love Michael Ealy.
Yeah, Michael Ealy's great too.
But yeah, I want to talk about that relationship between coach and player is important in sports, and that relationship between actor and directors. There's such a thing there. A lot of actors and actresses, they don't feel comfortable in certain scenarios. Like, what do you do with your actors? Do you like take them, behind the camera and say, we go talk for 15 minutes over here? Like, how do you kind of instill the confidence in them to go do something or try something new in those type of scenarios?
Right, and to his point, like some coaches, like you said, you have your in-your-face coaches, and then there are coaches that the really great ones, they understand the pulse of their players. You know what I mean? They know how to coach individuals. You know what I mean? Because they after a while, they know how the players may be receptive to, maybe
criticism,
in your face. Some may, like, I can't embarrass him. I can't do X, Y, Z in front of the team. I may need to pull him to the side or wait to after practice or what have you. So are those some of
I think. I mean, look, when you're filming, that's the game. So a lot of the pre-game stuff happens before we turn the cameras on and we say action.
Got you.
Like your table read and all that, right?
Well, not even that. Sometimes it's this. Sometimes it's like, let's go eat dinner, or let's just go hang out and like just talk about the movie, or talk about, let me see who you are. What's your personality, before you even give that person that, ability to be in your film. You might be somebody crazy as hell, and I might be like, nah, because you might
ain't
disrupt.
gonna work.
You might disrupt, even though you great, you might disrupt what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And like I said, I have a different mentality. Some people deal with that because they got a $50 million budget or $100 million budget, and they need Terrell. You know what I mean? They need you. Like, you the guy, and I'm going to deal with it. No matter what you do, you can hit me in the head with that. I'm going to still be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, we'll film it later. And then some people like, man, I don't want to do it like that. You know what I mean? And so the before you film is important. But now the second part to it is this. Again, it's another relationship to sports. The reason that I have you here is because you're great at what you do.
Come on,
Right? So part of it is, if I've asked you to do my movie, it's because I think you're great at being an actor.
Right.
You know what I mean? So once we get on set, I have to also trust you. Right? Because I gotta trust that you're gonna slam dunk the ball, you're gonna run the touchdown. Right? I need you to do what you do.
Yeah.
So part of it is a give and take. I can't get Denzel on set and be like, all right, what I want you to do this time, Denzel, is when you grab the popcorn, grab it this way.
Yeah, no,
like,
that
no,
ain't it.
I gotta
Right.
pick and choose my battle, right?
Denzel
My
gonna
battle with
throw the
you is I'm
popcorn
trying.
at you.
Right, we're on a different level when we're having that conversation. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And that conversation is about what I'm trying to project in my film and what I want you to get me in the film, right? But you deliver it once, 2, 3, 4 times, and now I'm like, okay, I need it this way, I need it that way.
Right.
But I have to trust that you're gonna give it to me them 4 different ways.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this, because again, a lot of actors, some actors need 25, 30 takes,
That-
some need 50.
Maybe, yeah.
Right? And then
yeah.
some only need 2 or 3, but you might say that they need, 5 or 6. Like
Yeah.
he needs like 100 takes. He can't never get it right. So, but like, what do you say to those actors? Like,
That's the
again,
conversation.
Okay.
So now that's directed.
Right.
Right now I got to figure out a world to make you see what I see and try to get that out of you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And not let you be the same person. Right? See, one of the things that I think is very interesting about us as a people is we're very gifted in terms of like we can get away with a lot. You know what I mean? Like we just got a swag to us.
Right, we got
You
some
know what I
type of
mean?
walk to us
so
already.
Like, for instance, Tyrese, love Tyrese, one of my closest friends, somebody I love working with. Naturally, Tyrese could not know the lines and get away with it.
he did the same thing with us
Right?
on the tape.
Like,
I'm
naturally.
You go ahead.
Naturally,
go
'cause
be
you just
Reese.
be like, oh yeah, that's good. T
Yeah.
just do it, and he just do whatever. Well, when you start getting to the next level in terms of like where I believe he's gonna end up being, when you start getting into real conversations about when he was opposite Naomi Harris, it was dope because he was challenged. Do you know what I mean? Like it was someone on the other side,
Hitting the
that
ball
was
back
nominated
just as
for an
hard, yeah.
Academy Award a couple
Yeah.
months before that movie, that was going like, nope, you're not gonna get away with just being Tyrese. I need those lines back. You know what I mean? I need to hear what was on the page. You know what I mean? And you've seen, so I was very proud to watch Tyrese because he's so talented, but at the same time, opposite Naomi Harris in Black and Blue.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why the movie was great.
Yeah.
It's because all of a sudden it just
They
Elevated.
both elevated each other.
and look, that's what John was demanding from Tyrese on Baby Boy.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Right,
Like you could
absolutely.
see, you know what I mean? But when we're that talented, it's not just Tyrese, it's a lot of us, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You could just kind of get, one of the greatest to ever play football, right?
Yes, I am. Deon, why you laughing, dog? What you laughing at?
But T, at the highest level, there were moments where you could get away with running a route, not all the way running it.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably
At some
wouldn't,
point.
Right.
but if you was pissed off and you didn't really want to do that, you could run
He
it.
could get
and
away
the
with it.
naked eye would not see that he didn't really run that route.
Right.
Now, the
Right?
perfect example of somebody doing that, I had no idea. He knows I've even told him, was Chad when
Yeah.
I was in Cincinnati. Like he was so undisciplined or just so comfortable doing things his way,
yeah.
that nobody would watch the game. Nobody would know that.
Yeah, they don't know.
over
Only
years,
the quarterback would know,
Right.
right.
So I'm in practice, and it happened in the game. Like there's a depth of a certain route that he's supposed to go.
Yeah.
But because he's who he is and he feels like if it's a route, it's just 10 yards.
Right.
And if the DB is at 10 and he doesn't move or he doesn't think he's going to push that DB off that 10-yard mark, he'll go 8.
And just cut
Carson
it off.
will throw it to him because he feels like, okay, I can get the extra 2 yards
Yeah.
once I catch it at 8, make somebody
Yeah.
miss and get that. But it came back to bite us in the butt in
Yeah,
one of the
right.
games
Yeah.
late in the season. It was 4th and 20. Literally, it was 4th and 20.
And he went.
He went 18.
That cost you 2 yards.
Bro,
Yeah.
he
on,
went
Ocho,
18.
get your
I'm like,
depth.
bro, we
Get your
need
depth.
20. We don't have another down. We end up losing the down.
That's
And
crazy.
we're losing the game because he didn't go 20.
But to the naked eye, to the natural,
You would not
to the
know.
fan,
You
we
don't
like,
know.
damn, he balling. Like he went.
He caught it and he did
No,
his thing.
yeah, but you don't. You needed 2 more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
needed
So,
those 2
so, so I feel like, when you're talented like that, you know
Get
what I
away
mean.
with-
You
yeah.
need a coach to push you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. You need a director to be like, yo, let's really get in here. Will Smith is talented. You know what I mean.
Absolutely,
But
right.
Will also is someone who is pushing himself
To the limit.
He's Kobe. You know what I mean? He's
single
Michael.
rep.
He's T.O. You know what I mean? Like
Every
you
single
see
rep.
him. Like if I've been on set a few
Don't
times.
ever put T.O. in that category ever again. But go ahead.
You know what I'm talking about? Hey, you at the top,
You say Will and Kobe, you gonna say MJ. You say other. You do not use.
You don't
those
think T.O. belongs in that
That's
conversation?
his problem, bro.
No. Did he ask me the question?
Honestly, it's humbling to hear that because over the years, when I grew up playing, I never thought like he hates when I say this. I never thought I would play beyond the collegiate level.
Wow.
And I've done what I've done.
Yeah.
But it's the real truth. He doesn't like.
Well,
to hear me say that.
he didn't have the desire to play
Because I
past
didn't.
the collegiate level.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
what
I just didn't
bothered
know.
me.
But
Crazy.
what you were just discussing,
Yeah.
I know like as far as actor, I know I could be a good actor because I'm coachable.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what
But
I mean?
are you?
I'm coachable
But
because
are
I wouldn't
you?
be as great as I am if I wasn't coachable.
See,
because
that's where the
because I was raw, I was green, I didn't know nothing.
that's
really
where depending
enough
on the
about-
coach. It depends on the coach because that goes back to what you're saying about Reese and Naomi bringing him up a level.
Yeah, that's
it
what-
depends on who would bring you up to that level.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
what I was alluding to.
Yeah.
There's some very synonymous to what
what's
you
the
were
word?
just
What's the word
discussing.
looking for?
What?
I know what word you're looking for. I just couldn't think about it neither.
Synonymous?
No, it was a different one you were about to say.
But you get
go ahead.
it.
I get it.
It goes. But yeah, so again, that's what I'm saying. I didn't want to interrupt your thought because
No,
you were
that's right.
explaining it.
Yeah.
But I knew like that's how I was as a receiver.
Yeah.
Because I had somebody to really coach me, direct me to get out of me what I didn't see in myself.
That's right, that's
which
right.
was they saw greatness. I
Yeah.
didn't really realize that I was just playing the position.
Yeah.
And then as an actor, some actors, like you said, they just act, like you said, with Tyrese, like I said, he would ad-lib or whatever, he would be him. But for you as a director, you need
A certain
this.
line, certain
Yeah.
timing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At certain time, not to take
Yeah.
away from who he was. And
That's
so
right.
that's what my coaches saw in me. Is like they saw
They saw
it in me.
more.
Yeah.
They saw more. And
Absolutely.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like, you know, I don't like even Tyrese as a topic, like Tyrese has one name.
Right.
So that's just lets
Nobody
you
even
know.
know his last name.
No,
right.
that just lets you know how great he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just feel like
T.O.
That's
T.O.
initials.
Yeah,
That's not even a
he
name.
has initials.
Hatch is a name.
Hatch
Everybody
is a
knows.
name.
You feel me?
That's
Hatch
good.
is a name.
That's good.
MJ, Kobe,
Nobody
Hatch,
knows.
Tiger.
Nobody
That
It's
don't even
all
fit
the
in there.
same.
Somebody says hatch, they just think of eggs.
No, you think of eggs because your head is shaped like one.
Somebody says hatch, they think eggs. Am I not right?
No, you're not right.
Man,
You're not
that's
right.
funny as hell,
Deon,
man.
don't
They
laugh
think
at that, dog. Don't laugh.
No, but I was just saying that I think that the idea to push, you know what I mean?
Right.
The idea to for me as a filmmaker too, it's like I have to rely on the actors to push me too. You know what I mean? Because
What actor has pushed you the most, you think, as a
Oh,
director,
man. That's
a
and
great-
brought something out in you
that's a
like,
great
okay,
question.
that got me better today. That rep got me better.
you know what? It's interesting because like I feel like every time I shoot a movie, I'm in class. I never went to film school, so I'm always
Learning.
Educating yourself.
You know what I mean? So
On the
from like The Intruder with Dennis Quaid, like that was film school for me. You know what I mean? Because I got a chance to work with Dennis Quaid, who's been doing this for 40 years. So there were a lot of things I was doing, and then he would be like, "Hey man, you ever thought about?" And I'd be like, "What's that?" You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
So I'm listening because I know, you know what I mean? Like that he knows more than me.
Absolutely.
Right? But at the same time, I'm always evolving, man. That's the one thing I think is different for me and what you're explaining too. Like, I was always coachable. So I'm always going like, it's not my way or the highway.
Right.
You might say something absolutely incredible and I might be like, let's do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And once you take the air out the room that way, it makes a different movie set. Right? Once people know they could have an opinion and I might just actually use that opinion, it's different. Now I know exactly what I want. But at the same time, I'm also looking, film is a creative and a collaborative experience. It's us doing it together. You know what I mean? I might have, the last year, been writing that screenplay and been like, yo, the popcorn goes right there, and then we get on the day, and I'm like, man, that light feels weird. Put it there. So you move. But I think I would have to say Hilary Swank, someone who I like listened to, learned from, like paid attention to, was like, wow, that's interesting, like just gave me a different philosophy. Dennis Quaid. Funny enough, early on in my career, Keith David, who's an incredible actor.
Absolutely.
I was making a film and he was in the film, and me and him were like trying to figure out this one scene, and we bumped heads a little bit.
Right.
And I remember going back, we're like, man, he'll do what I want him to do. You know what I mean? Like, what do I do? You know what I mean? And you can't tell nobody that. You know what I mean? You just got to go back and
handle it internally.
And then I remember thinking, like, all right, well, I'm gonna fight him on this. But all I'm gonna fight him on is to do it one way, my way, and then do it one way, his way.
Yes.
Right.
But I ended up choosing his way
Get it.
later. You know what I
After
mean?
you see the
but I had
the
to.
edit.
But yeah, the dynamic is I can't let you win. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be like I got to have it be like, all right, well we did it both ways.
Right.
And that was something that I took with me for my whole career the last 16 years, which is sometimes you might come and say, hey, I might really want it to just be just like this.
Yeah.
And most great actors will be like, man, I love that. You think I can do one for myself? And I'll be like, yeah.
yeah, run
so I
it,
always let that happen now.
Right.
Because I learned that in editing, I'm like, damn, that was right. Or they had the right idea. Or, you know what I mean? And I'm still learning, man. So, you want to get to a place to where it's a reason why Denis Villeneuve is who he is, and Christopher Nolan is who he is. This ain't by fluke.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like this
Years,
is
study,
Scorsese.
craft.
This is not like people think like, man, they
Get
the
up there and
best.
say cut. Say action and cut.
Listen,
That's
they the best, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to understand that. Like, they really the John Moran of this. You know what I mean? Spike and people think you can just get in front of a thing and direct something, and be like, oh yeah, you're gonna do this,
No, it's a craft.
and you be like, man, look at that art. Like, no, man, like these people are really good.
Right. Well, I
You know
think
what I
what
mean?
you just said about yourself, like I said, Dennis Quaid said, do this. It doesn't matter who you are. There's just a lot of people that won't accept that. Like, they won't say, oh, what is that? Because they want to walk into the room and be the smartest and be the biggest and be the
Ego,
best.
pride.
But you don't, just let that go, and then you can learn throughout the process. And for you to say that at that point, you're the director on the set.
That's right.
And
That's
for
right.
you to take, yeah, what is that? I
Just
don't
be
know.
receptive.
That's
you know?
it's huge,
You gotta
and
be
it
a
also
sponge, man.
sets the
Yeah.
the tempo for the rest of the set of
Yeah.
saying, yeah, if he's not gonna be that way, I sure better drop my ego at the door when I come in here.
No, that's right, man. And then what happens is, when you're done and you get that same actor to be like, man, you're one of the best directors I've ever worked with.
Right.
Which is
Now
huge.
it's even more weight.
Right,
'Cause now you go
exactly.
like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember Dennis Quaid pulled me to the side, and I think a couple of my friends were around at the time, and he was like, man, you're one of the best directors I've ever worked with in my life. So then when I go hear that, I go like, man, I'm
because
like,
he's
wow.
worked with the best.
Yeah, so me being who I am, I'm like, why?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? 'Cause
absolutely.
now I
What
want to know,
make-
like, what did I do?
yeah,
How,
like,
did I get in that
Right,
box?
because
What
it
did I-
sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, like what did I do? Are you
what
just saying that?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
And then when you hear the explanation, you're like, wow, like that's interesting. It's the
Right.
philosophy from sports.
Right.
It was me asking. It was me saying, look, try it this way. Him saying, let me do it this way. Like, all right, do it one more time. And then a couple of scenes of us being like, hell yeah, we got that one.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? So I remember like doing the scene in The Intruder where people don't know he lives under the house. You know what I mean? And Megan Good goes in this scene and she drops down and she discovers he lives in the house. And there was like, she was running up the ladder to try to get out and escape from him.
Right.
And I remember him saying to me like, I want to catch her on the ladder and like pull her back down. And I remember saying, hey, no, don't do that. Like, let her get away.
Right.
I got a really good idea how you could get her in the house.
Right.
I know this sounds crazy, y'all, right? But
I get
he's
it.
like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, just trust me. And he was like, all right, I'm gonna trust you on this one. And literally, we let her run out, get to the kitchen, get a cell phone.
Right.
And I do this gag where she's trying to dial, and she turns back, and he's standing
right
there.
there.
That's Hitchcock.
Right.
Right? I have been thinking that the whole time, like, oh man, I'm gonna do this thing because I've been wanting to do this forever.
Right.
And it ends up being the biggest scene in the movie.
Wow.
And I remember him like seeing it on the monitor, watching on playback, and he was like, Hitchcock. Hitchcock. You know what I mean? He's like, why you didn't tell me Hitchcock? You know, I'm like, man, but that energy,
awesome,
but he allowed me to, I didn't have, this one particular time, we run out of time, we don't, time is of the essence, we don't have, I didn't have to beg him to be like, yo, don't do it this way right now.
Right.
I just said, we can't do that right now.
He allowed you to be the director.
Let me
You know what I
direct.
mean?
Oh,
Like
you know what
us
I
as
mean?
players, allowed the coach
To coach.
Be the
able to
coach.
coach us.
That's right. Now I'd have had some people, this is funny. I've had like some younger actors with no experience be like, "Are you sure I should do that?"
Right.
And I'll be like, "Yo," you know what I mean? Like,
When I tell you to put the cell phone down, put the
younger
cell
actors
phone
be like,
down.
"Well, I feel like I would
Right.
not put the pillow right here. I feel
Right.
like I would," and I had to be like.
Just put the pillow down.
Just put the pillow there. You know what I mean? Like, you're not even ready. You're not even gonna have this conversation.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
my character would put the pillow here, and I'm
Right.
like, well, we need it here so the camera can see it.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like, so now I gotta explain to you that. But
Yeah.
I think film is so great, man. It ties into what we do so well.
Yeah.
But this is also why you guys are great at the podcast. You know
Thank
what I
you.
mean? It's because
Appreciate
naturally
that.
you know how to just sit
Right.
and vibe out, and
Have a
you know what I mean. You don't have to
conversation.
wear no tie. And today we're finding, man, that it's the natural authenticity that
Yes.
people want.
Yes.
We want to see flawed characters. We want to
Yeah.
see Hatches and Egg. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
we want to.
Flawed character. You said it. Flawed character.
We want to have that energy.
You know
We
what
want
I'm
that
saying?
energy though, because people want to be able to relate, and I feel like film is the same exact way. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
So you've been in, of course, the independent world, and again, we know how
Yeah.
it is raising your own money and finding distribution
Yeah.
deals, right? And of course, I love that world too, but there's also a part of me that says I would love to do a $300 million movie
Oh, man.
where you got crab legs and lobsters for lunch.
Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna get to that next level of, kind of directing huge box office movies? And is that even a goal of yours?
Oh man, who don't want the $100
Right,
million
right.
contract? You know what I mean? Like, I just think, look, man, I came into this business just like everyone else, coming down here to Hollywood, begging people, knocking on doors, asking people, would they please give me a shot?
Yeah.
That's me. Give me a shot. Put me in a movie.
do
You had your
something.
shot.
Give me-
Every time I
give
see-
me
shot.
something,
Let me
right?
tell you something. Every time, dude, I've done some acting. I may not be as great as you would like, but I have.
No.
Just
You might not be
IMDb
as
me.
great as me.
IMDb him, man.
Yeah,
Right?
that's all you try to tell me to do this. I
Yeah.
know who IMDb me, man. I'm just telling you.
He got one credit.
Put me in a
Shut
movie.
up.
Put me
Internet
in a movie. Every time I see
movie
Chris, every time I see Chris Tucker, ask him what I ask him. Every time. I tell him every
Put
time.
me in a movie.
Put me in a movie, man.
He's like, hey, man.
Put me in a movie. I had to start, using his voice.
You crazy,
Hey,
dog.
Chris, put me in a movie, man.
Yeah,
Hey, Chris.
Put me in the move, man.
you gonna ask me every time. Yeah,
Every time I see
that's
it.
how you got to do. Anyways, everyone told us. No.
Right, yeah.
And I mean, that's the same story for everyone. So
Right.
we just was like, at some point I was like, man, well, shit, I guess we got to try to make our own film. And then that progressed into what we are now.
Yeah.
But that muscle, exercising that muscle of not having your hat in your hand and asking someone, that muscle is a very, very unique and different muscle that we always, don't exercise, right? Which is the I'll do it myself muscle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And since sometimes you have to be very careful too, because that same muscle could actually be a curse. Because now you start waving the flag like, I don't need you.
I don't need nobody,
I'm
but you
me.
need a
This is-
lot of
I made
help.
this. It's just, I'm my stuff. I don't want to deal with so now you in Hollywood you would be looked at as an outcast. You know what I mean? I've always done films out of the necessity to make films as a black filmmaker because we were not given the opportunity. So now as you're growing into what you are now, me as a filmmaker, there's multiple studio deals. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's the aspirations of can we get to, the level of Dune, you know what I mean, where you're getting $100 or $200 million to make a film. Yeah, you want to get that because what you learn is money in film is about time. So people
can
get
have them 50 takes.
sophisticated with like, oh man, you got all this money. Like money is time as a director. So for me, when I tell you guys that The Intruder cost $3 million to make, Fatal cost $4 million to make,
That's cheap.
right? When I start telling you, so I'm doing 60, 70 setups a day.
Yeah.
That means I'm moving that camera right there 70 times a day
Yeah.
to get those scenes because I can never come back.
Can't do it.
Versus on the set of a Quentin movie or a James Cameron film, they might move that camera 4 times
Maybe.
today.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. 'Cause you got
Right?
time, got
and
all
they
day.
might only shoot one scene in a week.
Yeah,
Where
literally.
I'm shooting 15 scenes a day, right? Or whatever that might be. Right. So money is time. So when you start being an artist, you go, man, the money inspires you because now if you've really done the work down here, You're like, oh man, if I had more time to just sit here with you,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We could do it 5 different ways, 6
Yeah.
different ways. So when I get into the editing room, I could really
all these
I could
pieces.
really get the
Spruce it up.
Oscar.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So that's what's interesting, man. But what is kind of dope about this is when you think about just how raw talent is in film, you take movies like box office wise, you could take The Intruder and be like, all right, The Intruder opened up against Avengers Endgame. A $3 million movie opened up against
$300 million
a $300 million movie, and also another $70 million movie, a Seth Rogen film,
at the time. Was
Last
out,
Shot, with Charlize Theron,
Yep.
and 2 other movies that were like $20, $30 million. And The Intruder stayed number 2 for almost 16 weeks. Right?
That's what's up.
Without me having
That's what's
all
up.
the budgets and all that
Didn't
stuff,
have none
right?
of that.
But then on another category, you look at movies like Moonlight, you look at movies like Get Out.
Yeah.
These are like, these are guys, Jordan had
gems.
$5 million. And he's competing with $100 million movies
films,
for Oscars and won the Oscar. You know what I mean? So a little bit of it is, man, like, sometimes you got to be happy to be down on the ground and in the dirt.
Yeah.
You know what I
Gotta be
mean?
resourceful.
Doing them 20, that's
when
what makes
you
it
talk
dope.
about Get Out and Moonlight, make sure you put The Take in that category too. We was clean now. We was up for some awards. We was in there now. Y'all check it out. We did our thing. We did our thing.
You can't be clouting over nominees.
You kind of can.
You can't be getting
We
no clout
was
off
in
of
there.
Crazy,
We was in
man.
there. We was definitely in there. But so give us like some of the, what's your wish list? Like give us some actors, actors, actresses that, you have, like, if this works out, big budget, small budget, that you really want to work with in the business though.
And you can say me if you want to. I mean,
T.O.
don't.
Gotta get
No,
T.O.
I'll tell you,
We ain't doing no alien movies.
Hey, but
We ain't doing no alien.
I do it.
That's the
Hey,
only
no, but
thing
I
your
will-
face
but look,
looks
I'll
I'll be
like.
number 1, number 2. I'll be an alien.
Hey, so the next film we getting ready to do, so I'm doing John Lewis now.
Yep,
Getting ready
yep.
to do the John Lewis film, which
John
is
Lewis story.
arguably the most important
Since the MLK movie, I think.
film of my life, right? Me personally. It's John Lewis and Diane Nash at 19 years old, 1965, how they get on a bus and desegregate the South. All right, so we're working on that. But right after that film,
Free Agents.
I'm doing a movie called Free Agents.
All right, Free Agents
And
coming, boys.
see, here it is.
Yeah, here's your audition. Don't blow it.
NFL
But go
players,
ahead. Yep.
second string players that pull heist on the road. They rob banks.
Yep.
Okay? This sounds like a T.O. film.
Yeah.
Hey,
Right?
I could do that.
But it's dope, man. We got 50 Cent, man, and
Let me know, bro. I'm dead serious.
it's gonna be a crazy movie, man.
Yeah.
It's really dope, man. The script is almost done. We rewrote the
Work.
script.
And again, we've talked about this. It was like what, 2012,
I've had this
2014.
movie. I've had this movie for almost 13 years.
Right. So I remember we talked about this. So people have
Yeah.
to understand in the business, you don't just have every
No.
script and you just go out and get it done.
No,
This is like
no.
again, he's had this script for 13 years. They're just now going to shoot it probably top of next year.
That's right.
Which is 2023. And then just tell the people how that process goes as far as rewriting, development, all those things from the
You
script.
got it.
Packaging, all of that.
You got to just stay with it, man. You know what I mean? And these are ideas that sometimes you have to fight to keep them, or you could have sold it out a long time ago for something cheaper. You know what I mean?
Just timing.
But it all is timing. It's all like, I'm gonna sit on this. For
Right.
me, I've always been like, Free Agent's always been the baby where you like, damn, can we do it? Can we do it
Right,
for $5 million?
right.
Nope, can't do that. Can't do it for $3 million? Can't do that. It has to be done for the budget, and you have to wait to get that budget. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So now we finally got there. But that's gonna be an incredible movie, man. It's
Yeah.
really excited about that. I'm really excited about that and Blackula. So I'm rebranding Blackula.
Okay.
The same way you kind of seen the Joker rebuilt.
Yep.
Batman was just rebuilt.
Yep.
We're setting Blackula in the year 2035. We're doing that with Bron and MGM. And that's going to be a really big film for us, man. Blackula was one of the first, well, it actually is the first ever black horror film that
Really?
we had
I didn't know
with,
that.
with the vampire and,
Now,
just
did
that.
you have to go out and get the rights to this? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so basically MGM owns Blackula.
Okay.
Right? And what happens is I keep watching this and I'm like, man, I got a really good idea on how to remake this, reimagine it. And I went to meet with MGM. I'm like, yo, man, like I got this idea. And they're like, all right, well,
And this is just pitch off air, no script at
this
the
is
time.
our pitch.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like, oh man, we've heard 100 pitches on Black.
Right.
We don't like any of them. So I'm like, well, you ain't heard this. You know what I mean? And I pitched them in the room. They're like, oh man, that's incredible.
Can you tell the pitch? Can you tell us the pitch?
Oh man, not really, no. Not really. But
I tried to get it out right
it's
quick.
2035.
Right.
It's the year 2035
Okay.
that you come into this story. But here's the thing, this is a year ago that I pitched this. Year ago that I pitched it. We've been writing this script for a year now. But here's what's crazy. That world, that alternate world in the room, they're like, oh man, this is crazy. It's great. We've never seen Blacula like that. I said, we will arguably put Blacula back on the mount of where he should be, right? But since then, that reimagining was the Joker was first. So the new Joker movie,
So it
you
times
remember,
out perfect.
people are like, what is that? Like,
Right, what's the Joker, right.
The critics were like, this is gonna be crazy, this is stupid. Like, what are you guys talking about? Joaquin Phoenix, not only does it do $150 million at once, multiple Oscars and
awards,
right?
everything.
And now you see Batman being re-envisioned
Yes.
that way.
All the
right?
all these characters.
Grounded,
Yeah.
darkness, flawed characters. They
Yes.
can't win everything. You know what I mean? They
Yes.
can't lift up the world and save you at the last minute. Like,
Right.
this is like, and this is how I felt with Black. I was like, man, it'd be dope, man. You know, because Blacula was a love story. He was looking for his wife. You know what I mean? He was like, he was cursed by the white man. You got to go back and watch the old Blacula, man.
Okay.
But it's pretty dope. Like
The
Dracula.
name sounds like he looks.
Man,
I think you should. I think you should.
It's all right. So good. I like that.
Hey, that's that, right.
finna
That's about. It's
unplug,
got
man.
a whole bunch of ugly to it.
Hey, you gotta embrace it, dog. Hey, I embrace it. You know what I mean? But when you talk about alien movies, whose head look more like an alien?
Yours.
You see Deon?
Yours.
Deon.
No,
said-
he didn't answer the question.
Deon,
You
look,
talking about Hatch?
the head.
Stupid.
Yeah, get your popcorn ready, baby.
Already, man. Well, shoot, before you get out of here, we got to ask again. We know you know sports. You have to have two lists for us, right?
Okay, let's
I'm
hear
gonna
it.
get your top 5 NBA basketball players of all time, right? And then I want to get your top 5 directors of all time. 'Cause I know you're right in the middle. You're sports and entertainment. You play both sides, so I want to see what you're talking about on both sides. So give us your top 5 basketball
Top
players of
5
all
basketball.
time. Yeah.
Come on, man. MJ.
MJ,
His
already.
name is Michael.
Not in any
Michael
order.
Jeffrey, Michael, no, this is in order.
Okay, all right.
Michael
Okay.
Jeffrey Jordan.
There it is.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay.
Number 1. My 2 is gonna be.
That's the question right there.
I'm gonna go with Kareem.
Okay.
Okay.
There it is. Can't argue that.
My 3, I'm gonna go with. You know this part. This
This is where it gets sticky.
It gets a little. It depends on the day.
Yeah. Okay.
Depends on the day.
You go back and forth. Okay.
My 3,
I got my popcorn ready for this one.
I'm gonna actually go with Kobe.
Oh,
There it is. That's well you
Okay.
This
should.
man, hey,
I feel like what Kobe meant to the game, and I also feel like the stats that he put up, and also the championships without Shaq, like that means a lot.
That means a lot.
That means a lot, man. That dude won with Paul Gasol. Like, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
agree. And
so I'm gonna say Kobe.
that's right. You heard it.
My 4, we gotta put Shaq in there, right?
yeah.
Do we have to put
list.
Shaq in there? Do we have to put Shaq in there?
You can
Bro,
put
this is
anybody
your-
you want.
This is your 5.
Your 5.
You got MJ, Kareem,
Kobe. You got
I like
2
this
more.
team. I
You
like
got
this
2
team.
more.
Hey man, it's whatever you like.
And you better be right.
I like this. Let me hold on Shaq for 1 second.
Okay,
Let me hold on
okay.
Shaq. So what I got 3?
You got 3.
I
You
got
got
3.
2 left.
You got
I
Michael
got 2
Jeffrey
left.
Jordan, Kareem,
Kareem,
and you got
Kobe,
Kobe.
the Bean.
That should be the end of the list.
That could, hey, if you wanted to be,
That should be the end of the list. That's fine, man. No.
You can X out 4 and 5.
You
if
gotta
want
put
to.
LeBron in.
Okay, we'll get you
Okay.
there. We'll let
Brian
you
gotta
start
be in
with
there.
that.
Brian did
you
the
out.
work.
Yeah.
And then for my 5th, I'm gonna go with. This is crazy, man.
It's your last one. That's your last one.
That's a
You only
good
got
list, though.
one more.
No,
I want to see who you
dope
put in
list.
there, though. This completes it, though. You
Yeah.
can't
This
just,
completes it.
This completes the list.
It's easy to go with Will Chamberlain, right? It's easy because that's like
It's a
low
little
hanging
conservative.
fruit.
Yeah, it's conservative.
God, it's easy. Would you say Scottie Pippen? No, we can't say Scottie Pippen.
You can if you want to.
That's crazy. You can't say Scottie Pippen. You got to mention him.
You got to mention them. You can mention your Kevin Garnett. You can mention your
Magic.
Duncans.
You can say
You
Magic.
can mention Magic Johnson. You can mention Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas. You think Isaiah Thomas top 5?
To some people, yeah. Isaiah, he had no flaws. If you look at his whole game, he had no flaws.
That's interesting.
No flaws. Some people will put Dennis Rodman in their top 5. You know what I'm saying? So, hey.
Top 5.
Depends on
who would you mention right now?
For your 5th guy.
For your 5th guy, who would you mention? Just mention. I'm not even listening to y'all. Just mention it.
I would go. That was my list for 4. It's not, but if it was, my 5th would be Larry Legend Bird.
Larry Bird over Steph Curry?
Larry Legend Bird.
See, you crazy.
You out your
All
mind.
right, man, you crazy.
There you go. Always got to bring a white boy, pull him out your ass.
Hey. You know what? I'm gonna say, who's your mention?
Who's your mention? You got to mention one.
Just mention one. Just help me out.
Got a dominant, top 5. Oh.
He want to say Dominique Wilkins. Look at him.
Nah.
What talking about.
I mean, you think about top 5?
Yeah. But he already got 4. You only this is your last one.
I think about impact. Impact of the game. I mean, it's either between
Nope, you can only say one.
Steph and Shaq. And don't you talking about impact.
Yeah, and see, this is where I was going. You're right.
Because you got to think about impact of the game.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Shaq changed the game, and Steph's changed the game.
that's
No, but you can't say that lightly.
Dr. J changed the game.
Yeah, but Dr. J changed the game, but Dr. J did not. Look, here's the thing with Dr. J. I think because he shared time in the ABA
Right, yeah.
and the NBA,
Yeah.
I don't think we got to see Dr. J. We
For
didn't
the
get all the
longevity,
highlights
right,
of what
for the
people were
longevity.
seeing
Right.
Yes.
for them first few years.
On a nightly
entirety.
basis.
That's exactly right. But I would have to say for my 5th, because I've lived, look, we're old enough now, we've seen
all of them.
We've seen Mike, Kobe, LeBron.
Right.
Yes.
I had never seen anything like Shaq.
Right.
I had never seen.
And we might not ever
I had
again.
never seen anything like that in my life.
Right.
So for all the young bucks out there watching, you couldn't describe this.
Right.
You
had to
couldn't
see it. You had to
describe
see it.
this. Like,
He would be like a character, somebody just
Built
made
him.
up.
Yeah,
You know
built
what I
him.
mean?
dude, it was crazy.
Like Munstars
Dominated.
type
Remember
of
the Black
character.
Tornado? Remember he would do the spin and like.
Right, yeah, I mean.
Dude, I remember him. I think he broke Mutombo's fingers or something in the like.
In the rim or whatever, tried to block his shot or something.
You cannot block it.
Right, yeah.
Like I remember
That's a
going to a
powerful
game
dude.
and watching when Shaq played for Orlando.
Bro, I wanted, bro.
I remember I seen him dunk. Like we were sitting like not courtside. We had no money. I got lucky and sat a couple rows back. And I remember, and I was hooping at the time, hooping. You know what I mean? So you know,
You can tell what it looks like.
Man, this dude dunked the ball, man. I was like the
out
whole
the way.
crowd was like, yo, like.
Move out the way.
Bro, he was pulling the rim down, bro.
But
Like,
not
that's-
even trying. He just, his impact
Yeah.
I never see, so I'm gonna put him in there because I never, he was, to me, he
There
still
it is.
physically was the most dominant player I've ever seen play
I'm talking
basketball. I thought
it
Charles
is.
Like
Barkley.
what you see him do, like in person, like some guys that can't do it, you imagine doing what he does. Like literally,
Yeah.
like just say if the goal was like 6 feet, you know what I mean? How we just play, you just on somebody, but he does it with regulation height. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Like he was that dominant. Like
It was crazy.
All right, give us your top 5 directors of all time.
Top
You can
5.
put yourself in there if you want.
No,
You know, it is what it is.
One day, man, maybe one
you
day.
go.
Love John Singleton.
John Singleton, absolutely.
I love, and these directors are because of not only what they do artistry-wise, but who they were. Right? I love John because I love that he was a rebel. You know, and someone I spent time with talking to about film. So John, I would have to go with obviously Spike because of his legacy and what he does. I know these are kind of like cliche, like oh
That's
man.
all right, hey.
But what he has
There's only
been,
so many in the top 5.
what he's done. Absolutely love Hitchcock.
John Spike.
Just because I think Hitchcock, you know, I love his story. I love that people don't know when Hitchcock died, he was broke and people were not praising his work. Like they discovered Hitchcock after. Like he had a resurgence and he passed and then people discovered that work. You know what I mean? So Love him. Dennis Villeneuve, who we were talking about earlier, I'm a giant fan, man. So Sicario, you know,
Beast.
Arrival. I mean, he's just Dune, the new Dune.
the new
Like,
one,
I think he's been that guy for a long time. Right. And then I would say my fifth, again, like Shaq, we kind of like, I always kind of waver a little bit. I'm like, man, who would have?
Is it the Scorsese? Is it the
Yeah, you got all them guys, but I would.
Spielbergs and all that.
Spielberg has always been my favorite. I just
Right,
I don't name him in the top 5 because he's someone that I feel like is just like an anomaly, right?
He's like on his own list type of deal. Like
Yeah,
his own
not that
island.
he's greater than them, he's just
Right.
Spielberg.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
My fifth, I would have to say Robert Townsend.
Wow. That's awesome.
And I would pick Robert Townsend because when I heard the story of Hollywood Shuffle, and when I
how it got done.
when I seen this movie, when I heard that he was stolen credit cards or he maxed out credit
Yeah,
cards to make
yeah.
a film, and you know, and he made his own superhero movie, and
Yeah.
even though we laughed at that, you know what I mean, and we was like, man, what is this? You know what I
Right.
mean?
But
And
now that we know the struggle, how real
He
that
did it.
struggle is, like
he did it, man. Like he actually went and did it.
did it.
Like, I remember watching Hollywood Shuffle like falling on the ground.
Yeah,
Remember, like
yeah.
Jerry Curl and Shake. And, like I remember being like, and Winky Dinky Dog. And
Yeah.
and I was like, who is this dude, man?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's funny, man, that we have people that are that
Genius.
legendary that Hollywood never grabbed and let him have
Their time.
$200 million. He deserved that. You know what I mean? So
agree.
I love Robert Townsend because he was one of the people that when I was, you know, a young man, just watching movies, had no idea I would ever do film. Like that story inspired me years later. I was like, damn, Robert Townsend did what? They're like, yeah, he was getting credit cards and he made it.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
wow, that's crazy. He was an actor and then so that's my 5 for today.
That's awesome. Hey, there it is.
Great.
There it
Man of the
is.
day.
Hey, there you have it on Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast. Deon Taylor in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
sir.
We appreciate you coming
Man,
on, man.
thank you for having me,
So
man.
how can people find you, like social media and your company's name and all that stuff?
Yeah,
as well?
man, just check us out, man. My IG is very simple. It's just Deon Taylor, DeonTaylor. And the company is Hidden Empire Film Group. Very easy to find, man.
So send them all your scripts, even the bad ones. Send
Yeah,
them
and I'll get them over to y'all, man.
There it is. We appreciate you, fam.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That was
All right.
awesome, man. Thank you, guys.
Yeet.